Our third presenter is new to Rochester, Dr. D.T. Ogilvie, fresh from Rutgers University in a similar entrepreneurship center she started in Newark, New Jersey. Dr. Ogilvie is the new dean of RIT's Saunders College of Business. Here to talk about the Center for Urban Entrepreneurship she is developing, please join me in welcoming Dr. D.T. Ogilvie.
Hi, everybody. We're glad to be in Rochester. I find this to be a very lovely community, very warm and welcome.
No, I know, but
And I think our RIT Center has brought some excitement. As most of you probably know, Amy and Bob Tate donated the old Rochester Savings Bank to us at 40 Franklin Street. If you have not seen that building or not familiar with it, I urge you to go take a look on the bank side. We have the other side on the first floor, and we have 2 full floors and a half of the second floor. We hope to open the building this fall, but we've been waiting to find out about some grants. As many of you know, that process often takes longer than you anticipate. So we will be open by spring. We have our architect's plans in the house somewhere. Where are you, plan? Over here. We met with them this morning and got floor plans, but I don't have them yet to show you. But we intend to have a mixed space in terms of training people in the science of entrepreneurship. We will have meeting rooms, classrooms, we'll have a small auditorium, we will have incubator space, hacker space, so that we can train people in various types of entrepreneurship. We're looking at creating a comprehensive number of businesses. As many people think because we're RIT that we're really concerned with technology businesses. But we're not. We're concerned with every type of business that will make a very livable city and provide services and goods that residents want. As you know from the previous presenters, there's a lot of residential coming to the area. And I would posit that most people like to live in the city so they can walk around and shop. They don't want to have to come out to Henrietta or West Henrietta or Chi-Li or wherever to do their shopping. Even if we put technology businesses downtown, people want to come downstairs and get a cup of coffee or get something to eat. They want to walk and maybe buy a t-shirt or a hat or whatever. They don't want to have to drive to do that. And so our goal is to look at a comprehensive set of businesses that will go into downtown. To do that, we're going to have a couple of different programs. Our first is to work with both existing entrepreneurs to help them to be more effective and to grow their businesses. And to work with people who are interested in getting into business to help them decide is this what they want to do, and to train them to do it, help them get into the correct business for themselves. They don't have to necessarily have an idea of what the business is. We can help them to go through that process. So, let me tell you a little bit about what we want to do. In particular, we're a little bit different from some of the existing programs, and we want to concentrate on the disadvantaged residents of the community, people who have not taken part in the entrepreneurship ecosystem. That's important because we want to live in a safe downtown. And when people are working, they're employed, and they're not standing on the corners, they're not getting into trouble and trying to create trouble for us as residents. So that's an important aspect of what we're doing. We're basing this on programs that we did in New Jersey at Rutgers and in other communities. We know it's possible to take residents and to help them become entrepreneurs and create viable businesses that will grow. Historically, people have tried to revitalize the inner city by creating job training programs and giving housing. But we know that hasn't worked. If it had worked, we're going to be talking today about some of the problems that we have here in Rochester. Our belief is that we can create wealth in the inner city by putting people in their own companies. They will hire people. Those people will get living wages, and then they'll be able to buy their housing. They'll be occupied, and create a system where we have a safe downtown, we have people employed, we increase the multiplier effect, which has important advantages to to the city. We reduce the net leakage. Right now, a lot of people spend their money outside of the city of Rochester, which creates economic problems. So our plan is to have these training programs to help people get into business. But beyond just getting into business, we want to help various sets and types of people. We're going to have programs for youth. In fact, we're starting off with our Lemonade Day program, which Del Smith, who's the new director. Del, where are you? Stand up so everybody can see you. Del Smith is the new director of the center. And working in conjunction with the mayor, with Bohan Vargas, he's piloting the Lemonade Day program, which will take elementary school kids and train them to be entrepreneurs in the context of building a lemonade stand. And the kids will learn everything about doing a business. And so they can see that this is a viable career alternative, that you don't have to work for somebody else, you can work for yourself. It's a great program. And then we will partner with existing programs, Biz Kids, Yay, and other programs in the city. But this will get the little kids started on the right career path, teach them leadership skills, etc. So we're excited about that. Future Business Leaders and Entrepreneurs program, Del is also heading that up. And that will take high school kids and have them come and learn about entrepreneurship and solve business problems. And that's been a very successful program that we folded into the new center. And concentrated more on the entrepreneurial side of that training program. So that's another program that will make a difference. We're going to be having some programs for women entrepreneurs. As you may know from reading the Wall Street Journal and other publications, on the whole, women's businesses do not grow as fast as men's businesses and not to the same sizes. And I've done some research with a professor at Syracuse, and we're looking at how we can help women to be more successful and have multi-billion-dollar businesses. There are some things we know that impede women when they have their companies. We'll be working with veterans. We'll be working with people with physical disabilities, the deaf community and other physical disabilities, to help them get into business. What we're finding is once people see that they can get into business and earn their living, it really changes their whole attitude, particularly youth. Youth develop a sense of self-confidence, self-esteem, and hope for the future. They see the possibilities of what can happen, and I think that's very important. We'll also have accelerated programs and capacity building programs to help those businesses grow. So for existing entrepreneurs, we really want to concentrate on helping them grow. The program that we had at Rutgers, Entrepreneurship Pioneers Initiative, took businesses in a 9-month training program. During the recession, many businesses were failing. Our businesses survived, number one. And not only survived, but they thrived. They grew in revenues and number of employees. So we know that training people in the science of entrepreneurship can make a difference and they can mitigate some of the risks that entrepreneurs face. Most entrepreneurs who get into business have to learn through experiments and brute force. A lot of times they're not successful because they make a lot of mistakes, because they don't know. And we can help mitigate that risk by training them in best practices. We also will make our entrepreneurship, our entrepreneurs accessible to our RIT students and staff. For instance, if we have a marketing professor teaching a class, then marketing students can do a project with an entrepreneur to help him or her to market their firm. So there's a big role for RIT students in this process, and we teach every gamut of business. And that's good for our students because they get practical experience. It's great for the entrepreneurs because they get free services in return for allowing our students to work with them. And that's proven very successful in other communities, and I think it would be great here. We're very collaborative. We don't believe in reinventing the wheel or trying to do somebody else's lunch. So we want to work with the existing organizations in town to help us provide services for our entrepreneurs. For instance, if it's a high-tech firm, then HTR or Venture Creations might work with them. If it's helping people to do business planning, then maybe RDDC or SCORE, one of those groups that we're talking with would play a role there. So what we're going to do is leverage the assets in the community, bring them together, and give us more effective results and more widespread results. So if any of you who have not yet talked to me about this and you are doing something that would be helpful, you see us, or you want to know if there's a role for you in this process, then please come see Dell or myself. We also want to have space where people in the community can come together and meet, have events around entrepreneurship. Community organizations may not have enough space, so we can provide some space for them. So we want to be full service for the community. I think you also need to know that we are a research university and a research center, and so we'll be doing research as we go through this process, and have some influence on policy. Our center at Rutgers did have some major influence on policy with initiatives that the president put forth as a result of our first White House Urban Entrepreneurship Summit. We hope to have other summits to bring interested parties together to discuss various aspects of the entrepreneurial ecosystem. We are also very interested in social ventures. So a lot of people say, well, what's a social venture? So I look at it this way. You have a for-profit business, they make their money, and then they can decide whether they want to donate money to some worthy cause, but they may decide not to. On the other hand, you have nonprofits who essentially beg for a living, right? They have to write grants. They have to try to find donors. And oftentimes they chase the money because that's the way they can keep their concern going. And sometimes to chase the money, they get away from their core mission. So what we want to do is create sustainable ventures so that social venture is a business that has a dual simultaneous goal. One is to make a difference in the community or in some social problem. It could be the environment, it could be the economic situation in the community, whatever their mission is. But to be sustainable, so make money doing it. As an example, how many people eat Ben & Jerry's ice cream? Nobody? Okay. How many people have had ice cream with brownies in it? Okay? But those brownies are made by Graceland Bakery. And the business of Graceland Bakery, even though it's called Graceland Bakery, is not to be a bakery. Their business is employing the unemployable. The welfare mothers, the formerly incarcerated, whoever. The poorly educated people who can't get a job no matter what. They take these people and they train them to make brownies. And then they sell the brownies. And they create a virtuous circle. That's an example of one social venture. Another would be Ice Stone Counters. Their mission is to make an impact on the environment. So they take material that was going to the landfill, in particular glass and some other materials, and they make counters. And they sell those counters to people like us. Maybe Bob Morgan will put some of their counters in a new place. And by selling the counters, then they can keep a viable business, and that becomes a virtuous circle. They can get more stuff out of the landfill. So if you have a social mission, then we can help you to look at creating a social venture out of that social mission. Or certainly we can help you if you don't want to really go into a business, is to run your social agency more effectively as a business. So that's another thing that we're doing. And we'll be setting up training programs for those kind of businesses, nonprofits. So I think that's about what I want to say there. And let me show you a little bit about how our organization will work. So we'll have educational programming, general educational programming, and then we'll do customized training for various groups, depending on what their needs are. As part of our training, we'll have mentoring and consulting. And I know we've spoken to a number of people who have indicated their willingness to be mentors. So if you're interested in mentoring some of these businesses, we would love to talk to you about that. That's an important part of helping these entrepreneurs become successful. Because if you've gone through it, then you have the credibility that they need to hear about. You have the experience. And then we want to do some things like creating deal flow, maybe helping some businesses merge, helping businesses to acquire those businesses, or eventually to exit with some money in your pocket. An example would be Jeff, who is an entrepreneur and who recently sold his company to a firm. So we have the difference between the difference with Del and myself, I guess, maybe compared to some academics, is that we both have business experience. We we've both been entrepreneurs. And so we have the academic training as well as the practical experience. And so we bring a different flavor. And we're very concerned about changing the fortunes of Rochester for all the residents, not just the privileged. Because you can't have a viable community based on just the privilege. So we want to help the people who don't have privilege to get some privilege so they can create wealth. And our mission is to create wealth here in Rochester and to take the model around the state. We have other countries looking at our model and using it in other states. We need to have it throughout New York. And we'll help customize and help other groups customize the model to their situation. So thank you very much.